what Plato tried to tell you about the Matrix, and no one ever really explained to you. Imagine you live in a cave, chained since birth, unable to turn your head, and in front of you a wall, behind you a fire, and between the two, puppeteers who project shadows on the wall. And these shadows are all you've ever seen, your entire reality. And for you, that is the world. But here's the thing. That world is an illusion. And this is the allegory of a cave. And Plato told it over 2,000 years ago. And he wasn't just talking about philosophy here. He was talking about you, about your life, or about society, about your consciousness. Because this cave today, it's everywhere today. It's the school that teaches you to obey without thinking. Or it's the job that asks you to execute without questioning. Or it's the news that shows you a filtered version of reality. Or it's social media that programs your reactions long before. Or it's religions that decided what kind of connection you were going to have with the divine. And you live in it. And you think you are seeing the truth. Really. But what you are seeing are projected shadows, images, stories, again and again, norms, a framework, if you will, that were imposed on you. But the most incredible part of this story is that Plato tells us one day a man leaves the cave and he climbs toward the light and he discovers the real world, not the false, the real one. He understands that everything he believed to be true was false. And when he comes back to warn the others, they laugh at him, reject him, or they call him crazy or a conspiracy theorist. That's exactly what happens when you awaken, when you realize you can think for yourself, when you see that your beliefs are not even yours anymore, when you refuse to be put in boxes, and when you refuse to wear labels, when you don't even know what's written on them, okay? Ultimately, you become strange in the eyes of others, and sometimes you even become a stranger in their eyes, because they are still in the cave, unfortunately for them. While you, if you are watching this video, it means you've already started the journey out, the return toward the magnificent light. But for that, you have to use the shadows that are still being projected in the cave and that you believed are real, okay? And what I'm talking about here, it's not just a story, an allegory. It's a profound key to exit the simulation, the matrix. If you prefer, I use more modern terms. Because behind this story, what is Plato talking to you about? He's talking to you about your supraconscious. He's talking to you about the illusion of the senses, about mental conditioning again and again, and how to get out of it. He's talking to you about the elevation of a mind, about inner initiation. And he's talking to you about, most important of all, the path to no longer fall into the trap of illusion. And you know what? Today, we live in a matrix even more sophisticated than 2000 years ago, for sure. More subtle, more invisible. And of course, it's not about, putting physical chains on your feet and making you officially a slave. That would be too obvious, of course. So officially, they make you believe you are free. Of course, you are. While you are choosing between options that were given to you from birth. And officially, they tell you you are informed, while what you can know has already been filtered long before. And they sell you dreams officially, while what they really want is to put you to sleep. And they offer you endless entertainment, while what they really want is to entertain your attention. And they tell you that you need intermediaries to connect to the divine, even though that goes against quantum laws. And by the way, let me give you a very simple example here. One of the quantum laws is the law of free will. And do you know where the word heretic comes from? Heretic comes from the Greek word heretikos, to be free to choose. So heretic, in the end of the story, is someone who has the power to use their free will, so the freedom to live in alignment with that quantum law. And officially they tell you that luck or bad luck or chance or destiny are part of life. Even though in a quantum field where you can create your new reality, there is no room for luck or bad luck or chance or coincidence. But I'm sure that at some point you started thinking, wait a second, something's off here, right? A moment when everything around you felt fake, empty, hollow. A moment when you asked yourself, what if my reality wasn't the reality? And that's when everything started for you, for sure. So I invite you to remember this clearly. The reprogramming of your subconscious mind and the connection with your supraconscious, the divine spark within you, don't happen when you have the answer, okay? They happen when you start asking the real questions. The real questions. Okay? So, now, do you want to get out of a cave? For that, you must question every programming, every identity, every belief, every obvious truth, every that's just the way it is, period. And you must unlearn before you can relearn. Unlearn the reality they made you swallow, and from birth, and relearn reality with a capital R, okay? And finally, you must dismantle the set before you can become the new architect of a new reality, your reality. And the most important point, you must accept that you'll see things others will never see, at least not during this century. Because once you've seen the light, you can't pretend anymore. You can't go back to the shadows, or you can't disconnect from this divine dimension within you. And Plato understood it so well before. Living the illusion is painful. That's normal. But it's the only path to freedom. True freedom. So now, ask yourself, am I still in the cave? Right here, right now? Or am I climbing toward the light? Okay? And don't forget, you are the master of your reality. No one